Alhamdulillah barakatuh. Say salam, where you from, and we'll begin in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Salams and where you're from, and we'll begin in 2 minutes. Salam and where you're from, and we'll begin in 2 minutes. Alaikum assalam. Alaikum assalam. We've got Husna and Otto, alaikum assalam. We've got Nimra, alaikum assalam. Shahino, alaikum assalam. Welcome. Patricia, alaikum assalam. Shaheen is in Muscat, alaikum assalam. Kent Palam, what does that mean? You're so handsome. Okay. Thanks, Kent. Milgo, alaikum assalam. Nimra in Pakistan, I miss these, alhamdulillah. We'll get started in 1 more minute. Tahmina, alaikum assalam, in Somerville. Where is that? Where's Somerville? Omar Malik in Michigan, alaikum assalam. Berivin in Denmark, alaikum assalam. Hey, share with your friends. Tell them, hey, we're live. Muhammad Sharif is live. Let's get this going on. Alaikum assalam, Samir. We got Farzana, alaikum assalam, in NYC. Muhammad Saeed, we will get started in 30 seconds. Somerville, Massachusetts. Alaikum assalam, Tisha. Nadia Abu Snena, alaikum assalam. Nada is in Abu Dhabi, alaikum assalam, Nada. We're starting right now. Fadlur Rahman, wa alaikum assalam. Take 1. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. Amma ba'd. So today, my reminder and the thought that I wanted to share with you guys and pursue is that about dua. Is dua something that happens to you as a miracle? Like you make dua, you wait, and then something happens. You make dua for marriage, and Prince Charming comes galloping at night to your home. Or you make dua for a job, and all of a sudden you get this coincidental phone call that says, "Hey, we got the best job in the world for you. Come and apply." And so on and so forth. Is it a miracle like that? Is that how duas get answered, or is it hard work, such as somebody saying that I made dua. I made dua for, to run a marathon, and I worked really hard, and, it paid off, and I ran the marathon. So, inshallah ta'ala, I heard some really interesting things this past week about this topic, actually it was last week, about this topic, and I wanted to share it with you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, one of these verses is in Surah At-Takwir, verse 29. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما. And so this first verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and you cannot will unless Allah wills it. Inna Allah kana aliman hakima. That Allah, for behold, Allah is aliman, is all knowing, hakiman, all wise. So you can't will except if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it. Which is actually interesting. Whenever we're going somewhere and we're doing something and it seems to us like it's pretty obvious that we can execute it, we can get it done, we say insha'Allah. Or somebody says, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to go and get a coffee. And then another person tells them, remember, say insha'Allah. And the person's thinking, well, you know what, it's just a coffee, I can handle that. Yes? And this other verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And you cannot will unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it, Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds. So when in Ramadan time we teach a class called Visionary, I teach people about du'as. And when I teach that class, I don't like to distract people, but the focus, I don't like to distract them or discourage them that they're going to need to take massive action. That if they're making dua for something, they're going to have to take action on this thing. Now, when a person hears that in the beginning, then they think to themselves, well, oh, if it was always my responsibility, then why am I making dua? So I want to present something to you today. Because a lot of people think that, oh, as long as I put in the effort, that I'll get whatever I want, I get what I deserve. And this topic comes from the admissions process in the United States. You have some very serious competition to get into. Like, let's say you're going into, I don't know, which universities. You got Harvard, you got Stanford, you got these universities. And there was a scandal about that, yes? There's a scandal about the application. So one of the professors was presenting this week an idea that the application process should be done by lottery. Should be done by lottery. And then he was saying that a lot of people don't want to accept that their lot in life is based on lottery. But if you look at it, let's suppose there's 20,000 people apply for a position to become an astronaut, to get into a certain class in Harvard or Stanford or something like that, or to certain jobs, or to write an article for a prestigious newspaper or something like that. So imagine that you're the person who has to sift through all these applications. 20,000 would be something. 20,000, oh my God, that's a lot. I was thinking 2,000. 20,000 stack of printer paper is 500 pages, and it's this thick. So imagine that you've got 40 stacks of printer paper, and these are all the applicants, and they're actually all qualified. Now the problem is that, 1 out of 20 gets accepted into Harvard, or something like 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100, 1 out of, more than that. The person who gets accepted might start thinking that I got this because I deserved it. Which is interesting that Qarun, who had a lot of wealth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when people told him, thank Allah for this wealth that you have, he said, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي, that I was given this wealth because I'm a really smart guy of knowledge that I had. So he thought that all his wealth, he didn't think it was, the grace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Tawfique from Allah. He thought it came from him. And so a lot of times when we see, hey, this is a person who got published in a prestigious newspaper, or this person got selected to become an astronaut, or whatever happens in life, we start putting these people on pedestals. And we ask them this question, so how did you do it? When in fact, there's a lot of tawfiq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed it. That if it was actually in this person's hands, he probably wouldn't be there. Or it's just, the flip of the coin, flip of 100 coins, yes? So, I actually got the opportunity to speak to this thought leader. He's a professor. I won't mention his name. Maybe later I'll mention his name, but I said, instead of saying that life is a lottery, why don't we say that it's tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? why don't we say that this is the placing the trust in Allah part of the action that we take? And this author, he's not religious, so he's like, well, then we would have to start talking about spirituality and religion, and I'm not really. He's more secular, yeah, and he didn't want to go in that direction. But I'm like, what you're saying is the secular conclusion that this is all in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people need to accept that. This is all in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people need to not only put in the effort, but they also have to always be making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's look at, this is actually the example of the marathon is something that I usually refer to in class as if it's a type of dua that, hey, that is in your control. How many people have the intention to run a marathon and never run the marathon? And how many people say that they want to run a marathon, but they only run a 5K fun run or a 10K run, but they've never actually run a real marathon? They just go around telling people that they ran a marathon, but if you know marathons, they did not run a marathon. They ran the fun run, yes? And so few people, even if they made that intention, even though it's in their action, they haven't made it to that final line. And that's because it's not just what you will, it's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. And so as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's a beauty in that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ, that you cannot will something except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيمًا حَكِيمًا. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowledgeable, all wise. And so so anything that you do, whether it's a job or a marathon or anything that you think is in your control, remember that it's not going to happen unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it to happen. And our lives are more chance than we would like to admit. Chance, but it's not chance when you turn your dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I wanted to end off, inshallah ta'ala. We have a dear brother who passed away actually just a few hours ago. And his name is Imam Azam Riaz, and the last time I met with him was maybe like 2003. So it's a very long time ago, maybe 17 years ago, subhanallah. And and today I just started pulling out these memories of times that, stories that he told me, and things that he went through. Subhanallah, he was an imam in New Jersey, married, had 5 children. And subhanAllah, he passed away just a few hours ago. And I ask all of you to make dua for him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from him and raise him to the highest level of Jannah. And may he be united with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's really interesting. I had planned to make this topic. And somebody sent me a video of Imam Azam Riaz. And in the video, it's actually a video from the Al-Maghrib Institute graduation, because he graduated from Al-Maghrib Institute. When I started Al-Maghrib Institute, I used to tell people that, this might take about 10 years before somebody graduates. And somebody said to me, used to tell me that, I want to graduate earlier than that. I want to graduate in 4 years. And then I would say to a person like that, I'm thinking of somebody in particular, I said, you know what? You want to graduate in 4 years? And when we come together 10 years later, you're not going to be graduated, and somebody else is actually who went consistently and did all the work, they're going to be the graduate. So stop saying that you want to do it faster and just go consistently. So Imam Azam, the video that somebody sent me, Jazakallah khairan Samir, his quote in the video was from the Al-Maghrib Institute graduation. It was in 2013, and this is what he said. He said, there's thousands of Al-Maghrib students. There's thousands of Al-Maghrib Institute students, and here I am, 10 years later, being one of the few that graduated. And so this is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I thought, just like you want to graduate from an Islamic education institute, or you want to get Islamic knowledge, or you think everything is in your will, we remember Imam Azam, and we remember what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And I hope, inshallah ta'ala, as you go through your day, remember this, brother, and remember that when you say to something, insha'Allah, say it from the heart, because it is true that nothing is going to happen unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.